and welcome to Beyond the Book. I'm your host, Miss Ain, and today we will diving into the fascinating story of Malaysian post-secondary education. So how it has evolved, how it impacts our nation, and what challenges lie ahead. So I'm not doing this alone, of course, so I got 4 fantastic panel with me today. So let's hear from each of them. Now, let's get to know our 2 panels first. So Dr. Darshini, shall we start with you?
Okay, hi Miss Ain. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Darshini here. So I'm a researcher in education history and policy. My passion is tracing how Malaysia's higher education system developed and how those early foundations still shape what we see today.
Hello, I'm Dr. Loshini. My focus is on analyzing how education links to economic development and national progress. I'll be looking at the bigger picture on how graduates and universities contribute to growth, stability, and Malaysia's long-term vision.
Now, let's move on with our 3rd and 4th panel. So, Tiba.
Hi, I'm Tiba. I'm currently a post-secondary student, so I'll be bringing in a ground-level perspective. What it feels like to study in today's system and what hopes and concerns students like me carry.
Hello everyone, I'm Kale. I observe and write on education policy, and I will be commenting on how Malaysia's higher education strategies affect access, equity, and our social development.
Perfect. So we got a mix of voices. We have history, analysis, student life, and also policy. So together, we will unpack Malaysian higher education journey. So let's get started. To begin, let's look back. How did Malaysia's higher education system actually develop? So Dr. Darshini, maybe you can take us through some milestones?
Okay, sure Miss Ain. Malaysia's higher education has roots in the colonial period when universities mainly served administrative needs. But things changed after independence. So the government invested heavily in expanding access, especially with the establishment of University Malaya in 1962. Which became a symbol of national identity and progress. The National Education Policy of 1971 was a turning point. It emphasized both nation building and human capital development, ensuring more Malaysians, particularly from rural and disadvantaged groups, had access to higher education. This reflected a strong belief that education was not just personal development but nation building as well.
Interesting. So higher education was tied closely to Malaysia's development goals from the start. So Dr. Lachini, how do you see that shaping the future?
Okay, it laid the foundation for mass education. For instance, by 1990s, Malaysia had already expanded into polytechnics and private universities, ensuring more pathways into post-secondary learning. This aligned with what UNESCO's Global Education Monitoring Report 2021 pointed out that Malaysia is one of the few countries in Southeast Asia to achieve over 40% gross enrollment in tertiary education, which is remarkable progress.
So Tiba, what's your point of view as a student?
And from a student's point of view, that expansion is why people like me can be here today. If higher education hadn't opened up beyond just elites, many students from ordinary families would have this chance.
So exactly. So that set the stage for what higher education means to the nation today. So let's move on into its impact. So Dr. Lachini, so what's the difference has higher education made for Malaysia's progress? So maybe you can start it off.
Sure. Okay, one of the biggest impact is employability. The World Bank Malaysia Economic Monitor 2022 highlights that how graduates have been central in moving the country towards a knowledge-based economy, particularly in digital service, healthcare, and engineering. Malaysia's rapid economic modernization simply wouldn't have been possible without the educated workforce.
That's a strong impact, but it's not just about filling jobs, it's also about long-term gains. So Kalai, can you expand more on that?
Yes, definitely. Higher education has long-term benefits for individuals and society. OECD's Education at a Glance 2021 showed that tertiary educated adults earn between 50 to 70% more than those without degrees. In Malaysia, graduates also have a higher chance of stable, full-time jobs with benefits. The World Bank confirmed that this contributes to strengthening Malaysia's middle class, boosting consumer spending, and even increasing national resilience.
Do you see this? So it's not just an individual advantage, it fuels national growth. So Tiva, as a student, how do you see this?
For us, it's about hope. We know the job market is competitive, but we also know that in the long run, a degree improves our chances of stability and financial security. That's why so many families make sacrifices to send their kids to university.
So well said. So the impact is clear. Higher education strengthens the employability, raises income, and support Malaysia's long-term development. But of course, no system is perfect, right? So let's turn to the challenges. So every success comes with hurdles. So Dr. Darshini, what one present challenge today?
Okay, if you're asking me on challenges, one of the biggest challenge that the graduates are now facing is skills mismatch. The Graduate Employability Survey 2023 by Malaysia's Ministry of Higher Education found that 29% of graduates were unemployed or underemployed. So that's not because they lack ability, but often because their training doesn't align with the industry's needs, especially in fast-growing fields like AI, fintech, and renewable energy.
So degrees are valuable, but they don't always match the market. So Tiva, as a student, do you feel that pressure?
Yes, very much. For example, many of us students traditional business courses, but employers are asking for digital skills or advanced analytics. If universities don't update fast enough, graduates risk falling behind the job market.
That's a valid concern. So Kalai, what about the accessibility? Do all Malaysians benefit equally?
Not yet. There's still a rural-urban divide. Tuition fees, living costs, and even basic internet access limit opportunities for students in rural areas. A UNESCO 2021 report on equity in higher education flagged that Malaysia still struggles with equitable access. This means some talent is left untapped.
And research output. How do we fare there, Dr. Lachni?
Okay, Malaysia has ambitions to be a regional innovation hub, but universities often face funding and resources limitations. Compared to Singapore or South Korea, our research publication and patents lag. Without stronger investment, we may struggle to compete in the global education and innovation space.
So good point from all the sides. So the challenges are clear, which is skill mismatch in equality access and limited research strength. So now let's bring it all together. So we have covered a lot today, from Malaysian educational history to its impact and challenges. So before we close, I would like each of you to share one short takeaway.
Okay, alright. So my takeaway is that history matters. The policies of the past made today's system possible, and they remind us that education is central to nation building.
For me, the impact is undeniable. Graduates not only fuel the economy but also gain long-term financial stability. But to sustain this, Malaysia must keep adapting to global changes.
As a student, I'd say education gives us hope. We trust it will lead to better opportunities, but we need the system to keep pace with the real world.
And my point is equity. Higher education must be inclusive. Only then can Malaysia achieve its vision of a strong, united society.
Beautifully said. So today's conversation shows us that Malaysian higher education is not just about classroom. It's about shaping future, driving economic growth, and strengthening the society. So challenges remain, but with innovation and inclusive policies, the promise of education is still very bright. So thank you to my guests, Dr. Darshini, Dr. Lachni, Tiva, and Kalai for sharing your insights. And thank you to our listener for tuning in to Beyond the Book. So until next time, stay curious and keep learning.